They never tell you the truth about anger, not the real truth. They tell you, calm down, don't let it get to you, don't take it personally. But they never tell you the part that feels like a punch in the ribs. Your entire life can be hijacked by a feeling that was supposed to last only 90 seconds. 90 seconds. Let me paint the scene. You're driving. You're fine. The day is quiet. Then someone cuts you off. No signal, no warning. And something inside you snaps. Your chest tightens. Your jaw locks. Your mind ignites. For 90 seconds, your body floods with adrenaline and norepinephrine. This is biology. This is ancient wiring. But what comes after those 90 seconds? That's no longer biology. That's you feeding the fire. Replay the event. Rehearse the perfect comeback. Imagine the confrontation you'll never have. You turn a spark into a forest fire. And here's the first brutal truth of this episode. Most people are addicts. Not to substances, but to their own stories. The story is the real enemy. The chemicals were gone a minute and a half after the trigger, but you kept burning toast over and over and over. This is where we begin. Because everything you are about to hear is not about anger management. It's about emotional power economics, the value of your attention, the price of your peace, and the hidden cost you pay every time you let someone else pull you out of your center. Today is about your sovereignty, your inner throne, and the war to protect it. Chapter 1. The Button Pusher Myth. They say, he knows how to push my buttons. She really knows how to get to me. As if you were a remote control. As if other people possess mystical emotional cheat codes. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Nobody can push buttons you didn't hand them. There are no buttons on a rock. There are buttons on wounds. Buttons on old memories. Buttons on narratives you never rewrote. The button pusher isn't powerful. They're just walking past places where you've never healed. Picture this. A coworker makes a sarcastic comment. Your stomach drops instantly. Same place, every time. You think it's him, but it's not. It's your father's voice, your teacher's tone, your childhood humiliation replaying like a ghost. He didn't trigger you. He revealed you. And that brings us to the first thematic anchor of this entire episode. Revelation is not domination. People who push your buttons are not controlling you. They're exposing the places you still abandon yourself. When you understand this, the power flips. You are no longer the remote control. You are the operator. You choose the channel. You choose the volume. You choose whether the device is even on. So ask yourself, why do certain people trigger you while others doing the exact same thing barely register? Same action, different history. It's not about them. It's about the map of meaning inside you. And maps can be redrawn. Chapter 2. The Secondary Emotion Revelation. Here's a truth most adults never learn. Anger is not an emotion. Anger is a bodyguard. It is the security guard that stands at the gate when something tender, fragile, or wounded tries to speak. Anger escorts shame. Anger hides fear. Anger protects sadness that doesn't want to be humiliated again. Your partner forgets your anniversary, and you erupt. But beneath the eruption is a whisper. Do I matter? Your friend criticizes you, and you snap back. But under that snap is, why don't you see my value? But vulnerability is expensive. Anger is cheap. Anger is armor. Vulnerability is exposure. And here is the cost breakdown. Anger creates distance. Vulnerability creates solutions. Two sentences, two entirely different worlds. You never remember anything versus I felt forgotten. One is war, one is truth. So let me ask you, when was the last time you were angry and what emotion was hiding underneath, trembling, hoping you wouldn't ignore it again? Chapter 4. The Choice Point Discovery. Between the trigger and your explosion, between the insult and your retaliation, between the message you received and the message you almost sent, there exists a moment, a breath, a microscopic pause. Inside that pause lives your entire destiny. Viktor Frankl discovered this in a Nazi concentration camp, the harshest environment imaginable. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Most people never see that space. Their reactions happen so quickly, the event and the reaction feel like a single entity, as if the world is doing emotion to them. But that's an illusion. You always have a choice. You've just been choosing unconsciously. Imagine, you get a passive-aggressive email. Your fingers hover over the keyboard. Your brain lights up with the perfect comeback. But then, you ask one question. What response would I be proud of tomorrow? Not today, not in the heat of the moment. Tomorrow. That question activates the space. The space activates your sovereignty. Do you want to be the pinball or the player? Do you want to be the storm or the mountain beneath it? Who are you really when you're triggered? That's the question that defines your emotional kingdom. Chapter 4. The Observer Self. Inside you is a second version of yourself. The watcher, the witness, the one who never gets dragged into the mud. When anger rises, the observer says, "Ah, anger is arising." Not, "I am angry," but anger is present. That small linguistic shift is the difference between drowning in the wave and watching the wave pass by. Your teenager rolls their eyes. Your chest tightens. The story begins forming. He doesn't respect me. I'm being dismissed. But then your observer steps forward. I notice irritation. I notice the urge to react. I notice the story forming. And suddenly, the storm loses its claws. You are no longer inside the emotion. You are standing on the shore. Here is another thematic anchor. I am the sky, not the storm. The storm can rage, but the sky remains. So ask yourself, can you watch your emotions without becoming them? Master that, and nothing can control you again.
Chapter 5. Difficult People as Emotional Trainers. Here's a reframe that will flip your entire worldview. Difficult people aren't obstacles, they're trainers. They are your emotional gym. Every annoying person in your life is teaching you a skill. The micromanaging boss? Training your patience and clarity. The passive-aggressive neighbor? Teaching you boundaries and calm confrontation. The family member who always plays the victim? Teaching you compassion without codependence. They are not enemies. They are workouts. Every rep makes you stronger. Imagine your boss sends their 15th email in a single day. Instead of spiraling into frustration, you think, today we're training endurance. Suddenly, you're not being attacked. You're being conditioned. When difficult people become trainers, you stop being a victim. You become a student of your own evolution. So ask yourself, what is the most difficult person in your life training you for? Patience? Assertion? Detachment? Worthiness? Whatever the answer is, that is the next stage of your growth. Chapter 6. The Boundary Blueprint. People think boundaries are walls, fortresses, high gates, locked doors. No. Boundaries are skin, permeable, selective, intelligent. They allow nourishment in and keep poison out. And you are the gatekeeper. The masculine truth is, if you don't protect your peace, the world will spend it for you. Your friend complains for the 12th time this week about the same problem they refuse to solve. You say, I care about you, but I can only discuss this for 5 minutes unless you want real solutions. That is not cold, it's clarity. Your partner raises their voice. You say, I don't respond well to yelling. Let's talk when we're calm. That's not avoidance, it's maturity. Boundaries are not for others. They are for you to preserve the best version of yourself. So ask, what boundary, if you set it today, would immediately improve your life? Chapter 7. The Timeout Protocol. Most people confuse retreat with surrender. But retreat is strategy. Retreat is calculation. Retreat is wisdom. Sometimes the strongest move is the pause. Your spouse brings up a heavy topic the second you walk in from work. You feel your system overheating. The old you reacts. The new you says, this conversation matters to me, but I'm not in the headspace for it right now. Can we talk after dinner? That's leadership. A 5-minute timeout can save a 5-day argument. So ask yourself, how many battles could you have avoided if you had paused instead of reacted? Chapter 8. The Trigger Map. Imagine walking blindfolded through a minefield. That's how most people navigate relationships. But your triggers are not random. They are patterned, predictable, symbolic. A tone of voice that reminds you of an ex. A word that echoes childhood humiliation. A posture that signals past betrayal. When you map your triggers, you stop stepping on landmines. Instead of reacting, you say, oh, that voice tone reminds me of my old boss. No wonder I'm tense. Awareness dissolves half the emotional charge. So ask, what pattern keeps repeating in your triggers? And what wound is it pointing to? Chapter 9. Compassionate Distance. You can care without carrying. You can love without absorbing. You can support without drowning. Compassionate distance is not cold. It is sustainable. It sounds like, I'm here for you, but I can't live inside your stress with you. This is the difference between empathy and enmeshment. A lifeguard can't save you if they drowned with you. So ask, whose emotions have you been carrying that were never yours to hold? Chapter 10. The Story Stopper. You don't feel reality. You feel your story about reality. You don't feel what your boss said. You feel the meaning you assigned it to. You're incompetent versus they're having a bad day. Two completely different worlds. The same email can ruin your week, or it can be irrelevant depending on the story you attach it to. So ask, what story did you create about the last thing that upset you? And what story would set you free instead?